stop pretending. NATO isn't charity for the US. The truth about NATO that some Americans ignore. Claims that the US is protecting useless allies out of charity and should leave NATO are false. The facts tell a very different story. Today we will talk about NATO and what the United States, how the United States was benefiting from the arrangement. Hello there, I am Elena, welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. While we will be talking about NATO, I'll show you the footage of one of my home cities. This is Tuapse. It's on the Black Sea coast in Russia, which is oil refinery, was hit again by Ukraine last night. Ukraine is defending themselves from Russian aggressive war. This is the result of 25 years of Putin in power. This is what happens when you have dictator in power. April 20th, 2026. Tuapse is one of the major hubs. And this is the second attack in the last 4 days. And now they even have a rain. Oil is raining, basically, on their heads. At least one person died. I had information that maybe 2 people. It's one of the key hubs for the export of Russian oil in the Black Sea. While Trump is removing sanctions from Russia again, Ukraine imposing its own sanctions. This is why they're shooting at my hometown. The giant oil spill in the water, in the sea. This is really near the seaport. I have been swimming right in the seaport of Tuapse in the past. There is a beach in Tuapse and there is a stadium with like a swimming pool, but it's in the sea and it's right in the seaport. So this is what Putin is doing to my beautiful city. Let's talk about NATO. It was the United States that wanted NATO from the very beginning. It was the United States that promised countries they would not need their own nuclear weapons, large armies, or to produce a large share of their own weapons. The USA promised it would protect them. This made sense at the time. The USA was benefiting from the arrangement. The spread of nuclear weapons to unstable countries was reduced, and Americans gained jobs and economic benefits. This arrangement provided safety and prosperity for all NATO members. Troops were trained together in standardized way, avoiding compatibility issues in weapons and ammunition, and reducing US production costs for military equipment and supplies. European Union and other NATO countries were effectively removed as direct competitors and adversaries of the United States, and instead became allies, partners, and major buyers of American military equipment. This arrangement worked well for decades. How NATO benefits the United States. NATO troops have been killed in the US-led wars. This is actually my article on Quora, where you can find out more about this. US military bases span the globe because allied countries host them, giving America global reach, forward positions, logistics, and rapid access to key regions. NATO members provide critical intelligence, surveillance, and early warning that directly strengthens United States military power. Early warning is very important, as well as everything else. The US produces vast amount of military equipment and NATO members buy it, creating well-paid American jobs, lowering defense costs for Americans, and directly benefiting the US industries through scale. The US dominates NATO decision-making and sets the military standards everywhere, and everyone else follows. Most importantly, NATO keeps dictators and authoritarian regimes in check. That's why it was created, for defense and deterrence, and it worked. For decades after World War II, there was no major wars between big powers. Break NATO and you break that deterrence. That means more wars. This is what Americans lose: safety, stability, and low-cost defense. Without NATO, the US pays more, fights more, and stands alone more often. And yes, Russia sees the US as a main enemy. Weakening NATO gives Russia, China, and others a chance to push further, take more, and kill more people without being stopped. The weaker NATO gets, the sooner Americans feel it, through higher costs, less jobs, more wars, and less security. Bottom line, NATO is not a US charity. It directly benefits the United States. It was a US idea from the start and remains US-led. It helps others, but it also strengthens American security, stability, and prosperity. You are welcome to use my video to disprove the false claims about NATO. And in case people in Tuapse are wondering why they getting hit, because Putin is fighting an aggressive war in Ukraine. This footage is from 2022, when people in Tuapse were supporting so-called Russian special military operation and war in Ukraine. They had a rally with their flags and Z's and so on. And they were saying Russia will win, and then they're supposed to fight Ukrainians and so on. And they drove all over city with their flags. And it was, look at the roads. Look around. And yet, Russians are telling to the correspondent of Russian propagandists that they're supporting Putin's war. So they shouldn't be surprised the war came to their home. That's look like a Soviet poster almost. Basically, welcome to Tuapse, come to Tuapse. It was a resort where people came to the Black Sea coast to fix their health in special sanatoriums and enjoy the Black Sea, as well as in Ukraine and everywhere else. But because of the war, this is now what is happening there. This is post from Sheremetyevo about Tuapse as well. Ukraine continues to impose sanctions on Russia. While Trump is lifting sanctions on his war criminal friend Putin, Ukrainians are taking matters in their own hands. The Tuapse oil refinery is owned by the state company Rosneft, and it's only refinery in Russian Black Sea coast processing up to 12 million tons of oil per year. In case somebody didn't watch some of my older videos about Russian hybrid attacks and sabotage operations in Europe, I'm reminding everyone, this is a map for crowd that still believes Russia is not their enemy. This is just Europe. Don't forget, Russia is doing it everywhere. And yes, United States is their main enemy, not Europe, not Ukraine. Please like, subscribe, share my videos, write comments. Let's make truth available for everyone. Thank you. And a little bit positive in the end. The Ukrainian Air Forces targeted and destroyed a Russian base housing a hostile drone team. AASM Hammer missiles were used and they completely leveled one wing of the building. This was amazing operation, 12 kilometers under fire. Ukrainian defenders carried out an extremely difficult evacuation of a wounded brother in arms in the Konstantinivka direction. And this group was repeatedly detected by Russian soldiers, so they had to constantly look for cover and wait out the shelling. It took them 2 days to complete the evacuation. And this is what actually means we're not leaving our men behind. Not like Russians doing it for their people. This video from British volunteer James Baird. He's displaying a collection of his Ukrainian unit flags, and each flag means that it's a token of gratitude of the aid he delivered to troops on the front lines.
So, I'm at the farm, and I've decided to put up some more flags here. This is a truck. This one is being loaded for Zaporizhia, and now my flag collection is growing. The third, these guys are at Izium, another one there. But my flag collection is growing. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you everyone who is helping Ukraine. Please learn the truth, stay informed, and help Ukraine. Thank you for watching. See you later.